everyone. I am Shreya Gautam. And as we all know that weddings and travel destinations go hand in hand. So calling on the stage for the Wedding Sutra Engage panel discussion, starting with session 1 on picture perfect events, venues, and we'll be getting all the insights from all these decor designers that are here today to give you all the insights, their expertise to share with all of you. Now, I would like to call upon the stage Mr. Parthiv Tyagarajan, CEO and founder of Wedding Sutra, to kindly come on the stage.
Inviting our panelists, Damini, who's come all the way from Pune, Jinal Patel, co-founder of Doli Diary, Prerika Puri, the founder of To The Isle, Taskeen Poonawala, the founder of Atrezo Decor. So the 5 ladies, all of them have had their own special journeys. So a quick introduction. Damini, while pursuing her studies in college, she was into modeling. Later on, she studied hospitality and hotel management. She worked with a hotel. She ventured into starting her own catering business in Pune. It was in the pre-Instagram time. Yes. Today, all chefs, whatever they make, it goes viral. Yeah. So she started her own catering business. And then she got into wedding planning with Q Events and Weddings. That's right. I was just wondering, Q Weddings and Events or Events and Weddings. And Q is not only into wedding planning, they are also into design and decor. So she wears 2 hats. She's a wedding planner and a wedding designer. Jinal Patel, along with her friend Neha Vadhavan, welcome Neha, they started Doli Diary 9 years ago. And Jinal has also had a very, she studied interiors, and then at SNDT, she did her post-graduation in UK. She has worked in interior design, she has worked on movie set production, and now she's into weddings. We all know how life comes full circle. When I started Wedding Sutra, when I would approach a photographer, he'll say, I do everything except for wedding photography. When you approach somebody who to set design, no, I don't do weddings. Huh? And now, of course, Chetan will smile when he hears this. You talk to an event manager, no, I do all events, but I don't do weddings. Now, it's quite interesting. Those with varied experiences and creative selves have founded their niche and real happiness in weddings. Jinal is smiling because she doesn't have a wedding today. I don't know if she'll agree with me. Tomorrow morning, if it's the morning of a wedding, she'll probably think differently, but at least I know. After the wedding, she thinks it's the best job in the world, right? And in the morning, you wonder why you're even doing that job. Prerika is from Amritsar, and she has the very serene and the beautiful location. I just attended a destination wedding. I don't know, Prerika, what are you doing in Bombay? I think, Amritsar is where it's the food, the weather, everything is amazing. So Prerika is a graduate of National Institute of Event Management. She started her career with Crayons Entertainment, which all of us know is one of the leader in destination weddings. And since the last, how many years is 7.5 years, To The Isle has carved a niche in wedding design, and they do a lot of destination weddings all over the country and she's worked in Kerala, Rajasthan, Goa, everywhere, and of course Bombay, all around Bombay. I think now with the new airport coming up, you'll probably see more weddings in Karjat and Alibag. And Taskeen graduated in mass media. She was interested in a career in advertising and copywriting, but as they say, one thing led to the other, and she joined a leading wedding decor company in South Bombay. And now so after having a very interesting career there, working with some of the most high-profile HNIs of South Bombay, she has now ventured on her own with Atrezo Decor. So I'll start with Damini. We talked about 5-star hotels, hometown weddings, and of course. So my question to you is, when it comes to designing or managing decor, is it easier to work at hotels than at independent venues, or the other way around? Because we have a interesting mix of folks here. We have hotel owners, hotel GMs and sales folks. And I just want to know, they all interact with wedding planners all the time, but much lesser with design. So this is an interesting session because it's everything through the eyes of designers, and it's not through the eyes of someone who sells it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I wouldn't say it's easier to work or more difficult to work. I think both have equally, equal challenges in their own ways. Independent venues, when you go to, whether it's like someone's bungalow or their own houses, then they come with their own challenges where, the owner's right there all the time and constantly watching what you're doing and what you're up to and constantly interfering. But on the other hand, you also have enough time for production and for design. You have a free hand in that sense. You're not restricted in terms of timing. But in hotels, you're restricted with time, with many policies and rules. But
entry
passes and all of that, which of course is great. The only thing I would say is that from a designer's perspective, I feel, of course, the client is the most important person, but we're in an industry with people, and there are many people that actually go behind the scenes, and I feel they should be also considered important. And I'm talking about the entire production team, the labor and all of them, because they eventually bring up...
So what Damini is saying is, hoteliers, please be sensitive to what workers also need, because it's obviously understood.
Absolutely.
We'll come to that later.
And the
soon.
timelines, yes.
And the timelines. Jinal, there was a time where it was all about this beautiful ballroom and lovely venues. But today, when you are starting a recce, and say the bride is with you, and she's very active, she follows Dolly Diary on Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, you're on all these platforms, I'm sure. One of the first, do some of them actually ask you, how will it look in photos, or is it something you visualize first when you walk into a venue? Is that something which is top of the mind for you?
So honestly, photographers are the most important thing to remember a wedding
after. The entire wedding ecosystem.
To remember it after too. So
yes.
I think every perspective is very important in terms of understanding the venue, not only from the dimensions of the venue, the height.
Sorry, if I can interrupt. Anshu, if you can request some of our friends to come forward, their seats. So they're just, sorry, go ahead. See, I was thinking, I don't like empty chairs in photos. Go ahead,
So not only from the venue to the height of the venue, everything matters in terms of pictures, the natural light that you get in the venue. So it's to do with the space, the architectural horrors or also beauty that you want to highlight of the venue, but also looking at the focal points of where they're going to capture from. So you look at where the entry is going to come in for the bride. Is it going to be a wide angle or an intimate angle? How many layers can you create? I think that kind of helps in understanding the venue much better when you kind of understand where the flow of events is going to be.
Got it. So, Prerita, you've been for recce's all over. And did it ever happen that you went to a venue and, if I can use the term, you were disappointed almost? Has it ever happened? That, is this where I'm going to work? Has it ever happened?
A lot of times.
A lot of times.
Disappointment, yes, a lot of times. Especially when you're a designer and you want to create something that's very, very different.
And you have a client who's very enthusiastic or very demanding.
All clients.
Yes,
All my clients only come to me is like, we want something that's not done before.
Otherwise, they won't hire a designer.
No.
They'll expect the planner to also do this as part of his work, right?
Absolutely. Our selling point is because we'll do something different. Otherwise, they're not going to come.
Okay.
There is one venue that I kind of, not disappointed, but when we're doing a wedding in Taj Aravali, there is this spot that you do the mandap and the fairas at, and you have the waterfall in the background. And when we were there, we were like, okay, everyone, it's a hot spot for everybody, but for me, it was like, okay, something is a blockade. There's a black marble waterfall in the background. There's a waterfall in the background that black marble steps on either side, and you put the mandap in right bang in the center. And something could not sit well with me, and I felt like this is a block, like this is a major block of a mandap. Like immediately backdrop is just black steps. So we thought, why don't we actually make the steps into the mandap? So we kind of converted the steps with ply, platform, acrylic. So we converted the whole steps into the mandap, and there was no 4 pillars. So that's how you kind of do something that's interesting and
So it was a one
very
venue which you were
disappointing.
not very wowed or impressed with.
Yeah.
But any other venue, like an indoor venue?
Most ballrooms. All ballrooms.
All ballrooms,
actually.
yes.
All ballrooms, there are fire exits. Whenever you're doing a layout, there is a fire exit that's there, and you're like, okay, there's a fire exit, you can't do something fancy here. So yeah, all ballrooms.
Okay. And, but the interesting thing is that we may read about a lot of picture perfect, we view it a lot on Instagram, but finally a lot of people have no option, but especially if it's the reception, to go to the good old ballroom, right? And it's your job to transform it with whatever budgets you can work on. Sure, go ahead.
So it's really interesting, when clients come to us, to the designers, it's obviously our job to make the place beautiful with all the challenges that we get. This is an interesting incident that happened with me with a couple that had hired another planner and designer from Bombay. And they came to us about 15 days prior to Pune to Turf Club in Pune, which is a rundown property, but it's obviously like it had this beautiful tree. And the bride just looked at me and said, Damini, I really want to get married here, right here. But my previous planner said that this place is so ugly, it's so run down. And, and I just looked at her, and I obviously didn't want her to feel bad because that was her
dream venue.
Her dream venue. So I said, don't worry, we will make this place turn around completely. So we actually did the landscaping. We donated trees and bushes and everything to Turf Club and changed the venue completely. And then she was just like, wow, this is great. So I think as designers, that is our job, to turn it around completely.
Got it. Great. So, Taskeen, you've worked all over.
Yes.
So which are some of the venues which are really a breeze when it comes to transforming them?
So, I think I've realized over a period of time, over a period of 15 years that I've worked, and after which I started, through the period I started my company, worked in many banquets, many ballrooms, destinations, whether it's Udaipur, Jaipur, Goa, Kerala. I like the open spaces more than the closed ones.
Sure.
However challenging it may be, I think it just lets your creative juices flow as much as you want. You don't have inhibitions, and that when the client has those venues incorporated, if they come with that mindset, you're clicking with the client, and then you automatically have a vision to get into reality. So I think I'll tell you one venue which I really love in Bombay is the Great Eastern Mills. I think that just transforms so beautifully. There are closed spaces, but it's rustic, it's a barn, it can be like you can do wonders there. So that's one of my favorite spots in Bombay.
Prerika, what would be your favorite spot? Anywhere, Bombay or outside, yeah.
I think if you ask about one fort in Bombay would be Taj Falaknuma. Absolutely.
You mean Hyderabad?
Hyderabad. So that is something I always pick. Bombay, I always pick the smaller and the more intimate ones, which is Tote. For an instance, it's the white ballroom. It's a dream ballroom for every designer. So Tote is something that I absolutely like. Taj Mahal Palace ballroom is stunning. Lands End ballrooms are stunning. We still have limited options in Bombay, but yeah, we have to do.
Jinal, which would be yours? It can be outside Bombay, since both of them have spoken about Bombay. Yeah.
But Bombay, I have one. If they do give it out, is the fort, Bandra Fort.
Yes.
It's stunning. I think that's a beautiful wedding location. But I think anything which is outdoorsy, I love. So it can be the Taj Lands and the poolside lawn. It can be anything, honestly.
And outside Bombay?
Outside Bombay, I think Le Meridien, Mahabaleshwar? Mahabaleshwar, they have this whole garden which is filled with just trees. You don't have to do anything. You just kind of highlight it with lights, and it's stunning. I think that's a beautiful venue too.
Damini, which would be your favorite outside? Maybe outside Maharashtra, since you're in Pune. Yeah.
So outside Maharashtra, I would say I really like Udaipur as a destination. I think the hotels, the Pichola are just stunning and classic. You can't go wrong with them. The Leela and Uday Vilas and Trident, all three. Those are my favorite.
Great. Damini, this is really from, a venue or a hotel owner's perspective. From what I understand, that at least pre-COVID, only 20% of the revenues for most resort properties were from weddings. Now more and more of them, like we have the Fairmont opening in Bombay, they are betting big on weddings. So even if it's not 50%, there's more. But in this, and what really happens is when hotel owners are designing venues, obviously the focus is rooms. And venues, quite often you don't have very large ballrooms unless it's a MICE hotel or a convention hotel, because they are like, but also, right, we've all seen, everybody wants these plan B type things. So I'm sure in all your hotel recce's or something, you must have felt that there is something which hotel owners need to do in India to have more pretty or picturesque venues. So what is that little tip you'd like to share with hotel owners or GMs who are in that phase of launching a hotel?
Are you only talking about the beauty perspective or
Beauty or business perspective? Beauty is all fine, but finally everything boils down to business, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So no, like I said earlier, the client is the most important, but you have to keep in mind, especially when you're doing weddings, that the place must look beautiful. And for that, keep in mind that designers, planners, production people need easy access to a lot of things. So simple things like when you're constructing, you can have the pulley system in your ballroom where it makes life easier for everyone to not have trusses, and you can just pull it up. That is one thing that I think that hotels should, come up with. Entry accesses, places for the staff to eat food. It's a big problem. Even the back areas, if they can be designed in a way that you can do your florals well, you can have good ventilation. Things like that I feel like are missed out, but the newer hotels can incorporate it. In terms of beauty, the ballrooms, I feel number one problem is the carpet color. Please go for nude colors.
Something like
muted
this?
colors would work. Yeah, this is good. But I know of hotels that have bright red and like a bright blue, and then we don't know how to work with it because you have to turn around and then it gets challenging when you're designing because you're restricted with colors.
But I must tell you one thing. I went for a wedding where they didn't spend much on decor, but they changed the entire carpet colors.
Yes.
But the best part is, it was only at the end of the wedding that we figured, it was a venue we've been to very often, it was only at the end of the wedding that we figured that the carpet has changed. Which means there's so much happening around that even if you want to change the carpet, of course, as you would have guessed, the host was in the business of carpets. That's why he could he could afford to, carpet 8,000 areas. Go ahead.
This is exactly where the photographers are very angry when we don't take care of all these areas. And for us as well, I think maybe a person would not realize something missing, but in our eyes, it's a hindrance, I feel. That's where I think the photographers and us play a very important role in that aspect.
Jinal, any place where you've not done a wedding, designed a wedding, but you really want to design in the near future?
A lot of places. But the top few, Italy is one thing that I would want to, and hopefully soon we are going to. Lake Como is just stunning with you don't need anything. I would not do any kind of decor. They're just some florals, and I think work with that. I recently went to Qatar and it was beautiful. The ballrooms of Qatar honestly don't need anything. They were stunning. Another location that I really like, I honestly have a long list of venues, but Mexico is something which I recently saw a wedding happen in the middle of the Pampas fields, and it was stunning. I think a lot of areas we have unexplored, and I honestly want to look at non-wedding, non-hotel locations to kind of explore that. I mean, I think it'll be more interesting to kind of work in that space.
Great. Prerika, any hotels, of course she's talking about destinations, any hotels or a resort which you really are looking forward to work at?
I think I'm mostly looking at Kashmir right now if you talk about India. So it'll be the Taj.
Have you traveled to Kashmir?
I have multiple times.
For a
Because we are
holiday
close
or a
by.
recce?
Holiday.
Okay.
Recce, we're waiting for some wedding to come up. But since we're close and I'm in Punjab, so we keep traveling to Kashmir. If you ask me Kashmir, there is a Taj, there is a Lalit. So these two properties I think we would really like to cover. Maldives is something that we really would like to cover. The multiple resorts that I feel like Maldives has a lot of scope, and also Sri Lanka. Multiple venues are opening up in Sri Lanka, so those I think we would like to cover.
Taskeen, any resort or hotel in Bombay, outside?
I would say, as a destination, I would want to look at Turkey. I mean, there's so much happening there. Turkey, Morocco, because we've been inspired by those ideas, and for people as thematic options for mehndis and certain souks that we play around with those concepts here. So doing something there, even if it would be a small event, would be lovely. Like that zone of space, I would say.
Of course, you've talked about destinations, but you're doing a lot of hometown weddings also.
Yes.
So sometimes, is the vibe of a hometown wedding quite different for a destination wedding?
Absolutely. I think hometown weddings are more in your comfort zone for the client as well as the decor, designer, production. But having said that, comfort is one thing, but creating the vibe could be anywhere. It could be a destination or it could be your hometown. Like very recently, I did one in Hyderabad. And I collaborated with Dinaz in Hyderabad.
Dinaz
So we did a beautiful project there. We designed a very high-profile client. We designed a bungalow space and an outdoor rundown space into a jade garden. So I would say you could look at any venue and turn it around. I think that's the reality, expectations versus reality.
And similarly, the same venue, you've done a Sangeet, you've done a cocktail, you've done a mehndi.
Yeah, you can turn around spaces. It's just the creative mind that connects on it. And the timeline. Timeline is a crux, yeah. So.
You've spoken about Kashmir. Tell us a little more about Punjab, because I was telling you I was in Amritsar last month. The food, everything was amazing. Since you've spent your childhood in Amritsar, and I think you've schooled in Dalhousie, right? Any locations in Himachal or Punjab besides Amritsar where you'd like to work in, Damini?
Shimla. There's a property called Wildflower Shimla. It's by Oberoi.
I don't know whether it's still...
It's going down in March. So we really are hoping we might do something before it shuts down. But that is something that's been eyeing since very, very long. Himachal, I still feel, has a lot of scope to get a lot more properties in terms of the number of rooms.
True.
In terms of, there is a new property, it's been... Western Rishikesh and Uttarakhand, that is something that we really are eyeing to we're also doing a recce recently. Himachal, when you talk about Himachal, I think there is a lot of scope to open a lot more.
I think in most hill stations in India, all my hotelier friends will say, most of them have very limited room inventory.
That's the problem.
And the second is, of course, the connectivity. Even if they have an airport 2 hours away, it'll be probably connected, the frequency will be very less. So what actually happens is, in a country like India, I tell a lot of NRIs, the beautiful locations you see in the Bollywood movies, they are not available. You don't really have, like in Europe, art galleries and museums. Because of various rules, even beach. How many beach venues can you have, unlike Thailand?
Absolutely.
So what really it is it's good news for hotel owners, because they make all the bucks on the ballrooms, right? That's what it happens. You could have any kind of ballroom with any carpet color. That's the thing. So I'm sure in the years to come, there'll be more milestone events which you'll be doing.
Yeah. When you were talking about the travel, I think couples have gone so crazy, they're okay to travel. Okay. Like they're fine to travel. They're telling us, okay, it's still okay, as long as the number of rooms.
True.
That is the only issue, and Himachal itself has so much space and so much beauty, I think we could do. And Chandigarh has Sukh Villas, Oberoi Sukh Villas. That is something that's stunning.
Have
also.
You worked at Oberoi Sukh Villas?
We have. It's stunning also.
Nice. So I think what's really going to happen is, suddenly, I mean, as per our research, only 10% of wealthy Indians, I'm not talking of middle class, are having a destination wedding. So that gives you the scope. And from those who have a destination wedding, only 10% are having it overseas. So what's this big hype about Wed in India? Because it's only finally it comes down to just 1 to 2% of affluent people are going abroad. It's still a small number. But that what it reveals for our friends in the tourism boards, travel industries, is the immense potential. As the spending power grows in India, you will need more hotels, resorts, Traditionally, these were built for families who used to come over the weekends with their children, or they were for corporate events. But now there's more and more demand for weddings, particularly on auspicious dates. And that brings me to the question for each of you. Are auspicious dates still relevant for your clients? We'll start with Prerita.
Not really. Not really, because most of my clients are sitting abroad in their NRIs. So they're very they're open
Flexible.
to, very, very flexible with changing dates and open to different dates. And they have some kind of jugaad they're doing with Panditjis to say, okay, just do something about this date and we'll get married. So that is something that is happening.
Okay. What about you, Jinal?
The same thing with mass. Like, I don't think everyone is auspicious date friendly currently. Yes, there are a few who will be like calling us 1.5 to 2 years in advance saying we are blocking these dates. But there are very few now. I think it's more open to availability, convenience in terms of the family and friends, travel, time, and things like that.
Got it. What about you, Damini?
So it's interesting, but in the last 1 year, we've had 2 clients where they had an auspicious date, but the venue wasn't available. So they did a civil marriage on the date at home, and then, the dates for the destination were open. So they just went with the date availability of the venue. That was more important to them than the actual auspicious date and getting married on that date.
What is, for our friends who are not from the industry, who are based abroad, what is the typical format, whether it's a destination wedding in the city within Pune, where they must be checking into a Ritz-Carlton or Conrad or JW Marriott? That would be the typical format. Or if they go outside to a Udaipur or anywhere for a destination, what is the typical format in terms of number of days and number of rooms?
You mean if there's a client from Pune and they...
Anywhere, your clients basically.
Okay,
Is
so
it 3 nights?
It would be a 2-night, 3-day.
2 night, 3 days, if it's domestic.
If it's domestic, and...
What is the typical format? What does it start with and what does
So
it
it
end
starts with the family checking in on day 0.
Okay.
And settling in and, doing your reccis with them, doing your final show around with the hotel as well. And then day 1, guest check-in, you have a welcome lunch. It could be a haldi, mehendi or any other function, but mainly a welcome lunch followed by a sangeet. The next day you would again have like a afternoon, again a haldi or any other function, and then followed by a sunset wedding is typically the format. And the next day you have a checkout.
And this is for your typical clients typically require 100 rooms, 150, 200? What is it?
Yeah,
like?
anywhere between 100 to 200 rooms.
So that's the magic
That's the typical
number.
format for a destination wedding.
Okay. Jinal, how is yours? If it's within, is it very different whether India and overseas? Overseas you find more 3-nighters?
It depends on the travel time, honestly. So if the travel is easy for them to get to, then it's shorter. But if it's a long travel, then automatically the 2-3 days becomes 3.5 days, because then the family is coming in earlier, friends are coming in earlier, so the welcome dinner becomes an event. The last day checkouts, depending on when your flights are out, there'll be a lunch that comes into play. So it honestly just depends on the location as to where we are
So
planning.
further the location, the more number of
Correct.
functions
Correct.
and closer.
Yeah.
Prerita, you've worked all over the country. Are there any places where, getting vendors, particularly for florals, production, lighting, is probably easier or more cost effective in any locations?
Yeah, most of these common locations like the Rajasthan locations and Goa, these are because the supply is really high in these places.
And they're well trained there.
They're very well trained, supply
What about
is great.
Kerala?
Kerala is getting better.
Okay.
Kerala is getting better, like Taj Bekal is getting better. Kerala is still kind of picking up. I won't say they're at par as a Goa or a Rajasthan. They're
Sure.
picking up, they're great. Some venues that we had difficulty in would be something like a Gujarat, say Gir Forest. I've done a wedding in Gir Forest. Those were the difficult ones because there was never a wedding done there. So finding things were difficult there, but the easier ones would be the Rajasthan and the Goa.
Taskeen, talking about the pre-wedding functions, today live experiences are also very much part of the whole decor thing, the way you do it up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what is it typically which happens, which you source locally for live experiences, which is bangle making, or which you incorporate as part of the experience and which is important for decor?
During the function is what
Yes.
you're saying. So I think there's so many options now that like growing with each season. Yeah, like you said, bangle making, you have caricature. That's all been there, done that.
Yeah.
But now you have like what you all use, like the Vogue shots. You have
Yes.
those kind of photo booths and options. So those are quite interactive during the ceremonies. Like I think it would be probably for a Mehndi or a Sangeet. But live experience, apart from that, I think there's a lot to do with the photographers.
True.
Because they
Or live
cover.
painting.
Live painting. But I don't see many clients opting for too many live stations unless they're looking at a carnival
Theme.
look or a carnival setup.
Maybe for food, yes, you find more live stations now
Live
than before.
stations for food.
They're trying to do away with the buffet, but though I'm not sure how practical it is with a 600 or 800 pax wedding, right?
No, that's not practical. Even if they want to do imperial tables and you want to do the whole setup, it's still not practical. You need the stations, you need those tables, you need the chairs. Yeah, the Indian stomach.
They need,
It's not going to stop.
you need food 24 hours sometimes, right? A final question, and we'll start with Taskin.
Yeah.
Do you think, most of you have been in this business for over a decade. So, is planning a wedding more complex now or easier? Taskin, what do you have to say?
See, with my expertise, I'm more into decor, production, designing.
Is it a little more complex now?
Yes, it is.
So even though there's social media and technology?
It is complex. I would say it's not smooth. It's never smooth. It's never been smooth. It's not going to be smooth because you're interacting with not only the bride and groom, with a whole lot of family members at the table. Planning.
So family involvement is there for decor also?
For decor, yes. You're talking
Not
to
just hospitality.
No, not just hospitality, because sometimes, like very recently, I'm doing a project in Feb.
Because
The
our
bride
next topic is, it's going to flow from your family in focus. Yes.
So you're working. My bride is from Hong Kong. Like she's her nationality is from Hong Kong, and the groom is from Bombay. But having said that, they want to do it a certain way, and the family wants to do it a certain way. The groom's family wants to do it a certain way, being Indians. So that's where you have a lot of interaction. So it's not very easy and smooth, but of course that's the fun of it.
Got it.
And,
Prerita?
I think for me, with every passing year, it kind of is getting better and simpler and easier. Also, because of the experience that you're gaining, and also there is a certain way that we're kind of grasping as to how to deal with the client or how to, and also with the couples being involved and majorly taking the lead here. So we are with a lot of clients. I'm not even speaking to the families at all. I'm only speaking to these two people. So that is very
I'm going to have a very
simplified.
different perspective post 5.
Yeah. So that is absolutely
So Prerita
different.
is saying thanks to her experience, knowledge, it's easier. What do you feel, Jinal? With more social media, more images, more references, more ideas every day, more messages on WhatsApp.
I feel everyone thinks they are designers. And they think that Pinterest board is everything and it is possible anywhere. Like one of my bride wants peonies in Australia in the month of August, and it's not possible, but they don't want to pay a price for it. So I feel like experience makes things simpler, but it also makes it more difficult because people have more access to more reels and they kind of change their vision over time. So let's say if I start designing today, 2 weeks down or 3 weeks down, they have seen something new and they're like, oh, should we incorporate this in that? It just kind of is a longer process now, unless you put your foot down and say that, okay, this is what we are doing. So it's complicated.
In fact, before Damini, I want to tell you, in one of my last panel discussions with wedding planners, they said there was a time, maybe 5 years before, we could comfortably, if we don't have a business partner and we have an average team, we could comfortably manage 12 weddings in a year. Yeah. Today, my team size, even if it's more or less, I cannot, given the profile of my clients, I cannot do more than 6 weddings in a year. Because everything about there could be tech, there's AI, there are more references, but everything is about personalization. I can't just serve a coconut water anymore. It has
It's
to
not
have
a
the
cookie cutter
hashtag.
wedding anymore. Yeah.
Everything. And I'm sure there was a time even for the chefs, it was all about great food. Now it's also about having having a table stylist whom you coordinate with. And if you cannot take a table stylist there, if you're at the Gir Forest or whatever, then you yourself have to be a table stylist also, right? So you have to be curating the hampers, you have to be curating the tables, you have to be taking care of everything from, it was earlier, even the airport welcome is not, there's a lot of ideas there also, right? What you can do with entertainment and other stuff. At the airport, you're in the car and you have to, again, the entertainment can be personalized with a radio show. So Damini, go ahead.
Yeah, so I do think that back in the day, people had lesser choices, lesser access and lesser exposure. So choices being limited, you were given probably 4 or 5 mood boards and you would select out of that. But now it's just so vast and everyone has access to Reels, to Pinterest, to everything. And not just that, now with AI, earlier we used to tell clients that, oh, this picture is from, Venice or whatever, these flowers are not going to last here. Today I'm like, this is an AI picture, you can't get this here.
It's very interesting now, when you look at stuff, you're saying, is this AI? I know someone wrote a wonderful concept note the other day. And I was so impressed. And the moment I showed it to my son, this was about a couple of months back, he said, Dad, this is AI.
Yes.
And I was indebted to that person for creating such a lovely note. And then my whole perception changed after that. Nowadays it's not just visuals, but it's the text too.
100% ChatGPT. Yeah. So there's a picture out there which doesn't exist, and then they want you to create that. Of course, we say that, okay, we'll do whatever we can do to come closer to it. But so weddings are complex today more than back in the day. And that's
Great.
what I feel.
Okay, a quick round of, we don't have much time because we'll move on to the next. Sanket, if you can just check if our other panelists are here and if you can request them to join in because we'll start immediately after this. But there are some, okay, please, go ahead, gentlemen. Can we just have somebody from the team pass on the mic there? The mics are here, if you can just pass it on to someone. Yeah, please go ahead till the time the mic comes. Please go ahead, sir. Yes, audible, well audible, yeah. You're audible, so no problem.
So I come from Goa. Lot of buzz in terms of Goa. Goa has been stereotyped now as nobody going there, right? I have a question because I belong to a transport industry. So there is we are Goa's first app-based taxi services, by the way, and we operate on a very different level. But I want to have answers from any one of you or all of you that what component of transport, does really constitute the entire cost of especially in Goa, and how do you deal with it?
I think the planner, this is since Amini also wears the planner hats. Yeah, she can answer that.
It's a good question coming from a good place, but especially in Goa, it is a big cost because, as we all know, there is no Ola, there is no Uber. It is there are specific people.
By the way, I'm considered to be Ola Uber of Goa. By the way, okay.
The flight tickets are cheaper than the transport from the airport to your hotel. I think that has blown my mind.
I am trying to reduce that by 70%. So if you can meet me, I can solve that.
But on another note, there are so many heads today that as I was just saying, somebody was talking to me about Sabyasachi lehengas, okay, about them being 5 lakhs or 7 lakhs. I'm not sure really, I'm sure there are many more, but I just told them that, look here, it's just 1% of the total expenditure sometimes, because we know weddings are not, especially destination weddings, are not, and especially if you choose to have it at a 5-star hotel in Goa on an auspicious date, say around February, whatever. So there are so many other expenses of flying in so many vendors, the personalization, the gifts. Everything is finally a small percentage of the expenditure. But yes, I'm sure a lot of clients are very mindful of that, and I'm sure with whatever innovations young entrepreneurs like you bring in, every place, it's very heartening to meet when at OTM and other trade events, when I meet somebody from Jaisalmer. Earlier we would meet them only from Jaipur. And now more and more, I'm sure more and more entrepreneurs will come to Goa and bring about that change. We'll of course take this conversation offline also.
Because I am open for any conversation.
Sure, please. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Ranjit Vig and I come from Delhi. I'm also a planner. I don't do decor, so we outsource that. But a question to, I think one of you mentioned about dream destinations and you quoted, say, the Wildflower Hall. How important is when your customer is sold to that destination, how important is logistics to you to get people to a destination like that when people are coming from all over the world and the costs continue to go up, and administratively as well, and also from a time point and a logistic nightmare? If you'd answer that for me.
I completely agree, it is a logistic nightmare. But you know, most of the times we've seen that once you've reached a particular destination that's that beautiful, I think people have mostly forgotten the time frame that it took for them to reach there. Because when you've traveled, you have to take a flight to Chandigarh, and then you have to travel 4 hours to Wildflower Shimla. If the highway is in a good condition, 2.5, 3 hours. So mostly we've seen that the travel is kind of mostly forgotten and forgiven when the destination is as beautiful as that.
Well, also keeping in mind if you've got, as you said, you do non-resident or NRI weddings and people coming from all over the world, and key destinations would be the gateway points. So Delhi to Chandigarh, Chandigarh to so-and-so.
So Delhi also has a direct train to Kalka. It's a chair car, it's an AC chair car, very, very comfortable. So Delhi to Kalka is an AC train, which is about 6 hours. So from Kalka to Shimla is only 1 hour. So that's covered there.
It's 150 people.
Yeah, but
Are you proposing you would charter the trains and bogies to do that?
Not charter, see, I'll tell you, a lot of people will not prefer to take the trains. There will be a major bunch that would want to. There will be a lot of people who will want to travel from Chandigarh. But the graphs that we've seen so far, I'll give you an example. Suppose you do a wedding in Hua Hin in Thailand. So I have clients, I have done a wedding where they went from Jalandhar to Hua Hin. You see the travel distance from Jalandhar to Hua Hin, Jalandhar to Delhi, Delhi to Bangkok, Bangkok to Hua Hin. They've traveled all this distance, and the family was of course okay with doing it because they wanted to do it. There were a lot of guests who were a little uncomfortable for the first 1 hour, but they were absolutely okay the first event and the first night. They absolutely didn't mind going back and covering the same distance because they realized something like that would have not been experienced in somewhere maybe like a Goa. It was new for them. Not saying that Goa is not great, but it was very different for them. So it's mostly forgiven.
I'll just sum it up because our
my
next
question
topic
was
is
very generic.
Yeah,
to
the
that.
next one is really going to take this up because there are two things, and planners will tell you. One is planners in India are able to command that super premium because it's a logistical nightmare. Otherwise, clients will not even pick a planner and they will tell the hotel to just book the vendors. So the more logistics it is, and therefore this is what has happened in an inciting session between planners. They say we crib about logistics, but the more logistics challenge, the more money for us. Otherwise, the client will just give the whole list to the banquet sales manager and the point of contact at the hotel, and the hotel will just appoint 6 local vendors maximum to do everything. Because the Indian wedding is a logistical challenge, and the more travel there is, the more money for our friends here.
Well, that's what I was wanting them to share with the audience to see
great.
how different that can be.
But thank you for inciting here. But one last question. Sanket, are all our panelists in the room? Can you just give them a call because we have to start right out. Who is not there? Please call them, and because we have to start right away. Yeah, please go ahead, sir. Yeah.
I'm from Agra.
Oh, the Fairmont Agra is opening soon. Indu, when is the Fairmont Agra opening? Which quarter? Okay.
Yeah.
I think she's playing safe. Huh? She's smart. It's Q2, but she's saying Q4 because she doesn't want to be quoted. Indu said. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So everyone knows about the Taj Mahal.
Yes.
So why not you can go weddings over there? Because Agra is a
I think they have to tell you that.
Less.
Every NR, much before Rajasthan and Goa came,
Yeah.
we knew of international celebrities who would propose to their girlfriend in Agra.
Yeah.
And I think whatever said and done, people abroad, they want to get married at the Golden Temple in Amritsar. They want to get married at the Shore Temple in any friends from Mahabalipuram here? I think Gaurav was here a few minutes back. They want to get married at the Shore Temple in Mahabalipuram. They want to get married in Golden Temple. But I think that is something only the government can answer, because there are so many factors. I mean, do you close a particular gate for a private function, or do you or if there's a historical monument? But see, in a way, I still feel that if the government works with the private sector, and the money you get through weddings, like what happened, for example, Victoria Memorial, Calcutta. I remember around 2008 is when Mr. Lakshmi Mittal had his son or daughter's reception there. It did not go down well. But if the Victoria Memorial can charge much, much more and keep it open, all that money can only go towards the same thing. I know it's very easy for me to say it, but there are a lot of factors within the city which have to. So finally, what everybody is left with is 5-star hotels. That's it, because how many?
There have many 5-star hotels as well.
Where?
In Agra.
Yeah, the weddings are, I'm sure Hilton,
like
Marriott
Hilton,
and all are
Oberoi
doing
over
well.
there, Taj Convention over there,
Yeah.
and many gardens over there as well.
Yeah. But again, there was a time when the flight connectivity was not as good, right? Now the flight connectivity
Now
is
the
much better.
connectivity, yeah.
Yeah, so your point is really, if not Taj Mahal, what you're saying is the 5 stars can be doing much better. That's why Accor, Indu is from Fairmont, Jaipur. Who knows, she's done such a good job in Fairmont, Jaipur, and Raffles, they will send her to recreate the magic of Fairmont, Jaipur there in Agra.
If anybody can want over there, so they can also, weddings over there, lots of weddings are there in Agra.
I'm sure the potential is immense.
And less price than other places, like if you sail in Jaipur or Rajasthan, anywhere.
Absolutely. But the moment there many weddings happen there, the prices will automatically increase. Yeah. Great. I think Sanket are all our panelists here. 2 are still not there. Okay.
Thank
great.
you.
Okay, 2 more questions till we wait for our panelists to come in. Anshu, if you could just indicate as soon as they are here. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kajal Patel. I'm from Tanzania, East Africa. And we are a team of Tanzanians here who are representing Zanzibar.
Oh, lovely.
Zanzibar is a beautiful luxury destination. We're a hotelier, and I am also a wedding planner. We do a lot of destination weddings in Zanzibar. So we have been hearing a lot about a lot of destinations that all our panelists have done. We did see that you brought up a question about Goa and like things that are like transport that are costing you a lot. My personal experience being local to Tanzania and hosting a lot of destination weddings within Zanzibar, I think that's something you should definitely look into for your clients.
Can you tell us about the distance from, for example, how did you come into Bombay? What is the route you took?
So from Mumbai to our capital city, Dar es Salaam, it's just a 6-hour flight, direct. And of course, if you're coming as a group, a wedding group, expecting between 150, 200, 250 guests, we can hire a private boat that can take all your guests and got everyone together into Zanzibar in 90 minutes.
Oh,
so from the capital city,
that's
only
quite I thought it will be about 7 to 8 hours.
No,
that's
no,
a
no.
perception.
Yes,
So
yeah.
6 hours is what sometimes it takes us to, Turkey, when we are traveling.
Yes.
And it's, of course, Middle East is a shorter duration, but Mauritius is 6 hours. And
Yes.
Mauritius has done many Indian weddings.
Yes, yeah. And a lot of, we have been speaking to a lot of vendors locally who have been coming and questioning things like, do you get good access to food, good hotels, 5-star hotels? What are the types of venues, vendors, decorators, florists? We have absolutely everything available there. We do a lot of Indian weddings. We have clients that come from all across the globe. Somehow India has just not touched down on our side of the world. So yeah, I think
I think it's all about how it's marketed, because when I organized a fam trip to Oman sometime in 2011, and I told a very well-known designer who used to exhibit a lot in Middle East, And I said, a group of Wedding Sutra favorites are going to Oman. And immediately she's like, why would anyone have a destination wedding in Oman? And we know what has happened after that. Whether it is Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, it is, Middle East is, and also because of the fact that they are so familiar with Indian food, hospitality, it's all about the marketing there.
Yes.
So maybe you should talk to a couple of hotels. And we'll all do a fam. Well, everybody in the wedding industry loves traveling. Huh? So, yes. So everybody is already looking forward to the fam. And the most important thing is when we are there to introduce them to the local vendors. See, what happens is everybody only shows decor designers, rooms and venues. But what each of them want to meet is a local florist, a production person, because when they are sitting there, they want to also, Jinal wants to compare what florals is. Is it double of Thailand? Is it triple of Thailand? Because again, as a gentleman from Goa said, the client is questioning the decor designer on each and every head. Why is this so expensive? So the moment you are sitting, and this is why Turkey has done very well, right? There's a DMC which is very active. We send, one of them send a query for a wedding in Antalya or Bodrum or Istanbul. They are able to connect them with, it's because the hotel rooms is still easy because you're interacting with 5-star hotels who have a presence online. So if Damini sends a query, if she already knows somebody in Marriott Bombay or Marriott Pune, any part of the world, she has to just contact Marriott Pune and they will give her a detailed proposal, if provided, of course, she gives them the dates and the room thing. But what if the client asks her, how expensive is it to do Florence? So she can market the destination basis the elements. And I don't think any of us here know about, sorry to say, know about your food.
No, that's why we're here.
Or at least I don't know about the food. I don't know about, so I'm able to kind of visualize, you know, with Bali, they are fire dancers. We all know about Thailand. We all know about the Middle Eastern cuisine. We of course know about Europe, but and as I always say, weddings and travel go hand in hand. Prerita spoke about the family from Jalandhar, and I'm sure the same family, if there's already a wedding happening in Thailand, Middle East, they would love to come to your country for the next wedding in the family.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So I think I'll take this opportunity to invite all of you to come and visit our stand. The Tanzanian booth is right, the first booth as you enter gate number 20. All of us are present there, and we'd be happy to...
I request Damini, Jinal, Prerita, and Taskin, and each of you have to start planning the itinerary of the fam. Yes? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There was a gentleman next to you who had a question.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't have a question. My name is Rajiv Desai and I run a DMC out of Tanzania. So she manages a lot of weddings in Zanzibar. We're part of the same team. But I heard someone say that they had a problem or a challenge, rather, planning some wedding in Girnar. Come plan a wedding in Serengeti. I will show you what it is. And also, of course, Zanzibar. So please, be our guests. We're ready to take you all on fam trips.
Thank you. One last question before we come forward for a photo op. Yeah, sure. Please go ahead, sir. Yeah.
Good evening, Pradeep, and all the expertise. So my exposure in your trade is very limited. Though my CSO asked me, boss, we should meet and try to learn something. Give you a brief background. I'm the managing director of a company called Avitas. We are located in Mangalore. We have 5 destinations there in Mangalore. So we just, out of nowhere, we just thought, let's start something as a hobby. And it turned out to be, in 2 months, we had 97 events. In the 97 events...
Across 5 properties.
5 properties. In that...
All properties in Karnataka.
Yeah, in that 30 of it, per day is 10,000, 8,000, 6,000. The decors who are spending in Mangalore, it's the number something very amazing. a lot of people from the coastal of Karnataka, I'm sure they are in the high power in many of the areas. They want to come to Mangalore to celebrate because of the route. So I'm wondering, the decor and the designers, what is the next venue person like me who has to design it? As of now, though I'm a vivid traveler for Japan to Mexico, as latest as last week I was there in Cancun, so I've seen those, the wonder there. So we are keen to present something new so that you guys could participate in the journey of it. And I'm being in Mumbai, and I want Team Mumbai to participate. Then I could see a lot of Bangalore guys. I don't know whether Dhruva is here.
Dhruva is not here.
Dhruva
He
is
does
not
all the
here.
florals at Bangalore
Yeah.
Palace, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So there is a palace theme they set up. There's a mosque theme of Abu Dhabi they set up 3 days or 4 days. A lot of things have been there, set. So my request to you people, as an owner, how do I get my money? The land is very expensive there. So we acquired one more place. And Mangalore event is only 90 days to 110 days. So all the times we are busy. So we want to, the auspicious. Unlike you guys who are saying, generally in Mangalore, they count
There's some
the
nice
days.
beaches also, right?
We have a nice beaches.
Like
The
Vizag,
theme is
Mangalore.
there. We have 1,000 pillars Basdi is there. We have temple cities there. From there, connectivities to Kannur and Mangalore is there. The airports are there. The beaches are the best beaches. The film celebrities are from Mangalore. Whoever you call it, I don't want to name any of them. Most of them, you know, right from the Miss World to the people. They all wanted to come to Mangalore. Why are all these beautiful looking people, you people are not seen or not making any presence there? This is my question.
No,
and
Mangalore.
I'm
Mangalore.
here. Right here, I'll be talking to Nirav to arrange a session there.
Sure.
On our cost. Yeah, but I need one theme. As I said, I need one theme because I made Venice in our place. In the middle of the pool, we made a venue and it's a hot. So third one, so the reputation is not ideal. So I want some
One last
cues.
thing, what is the room inventory?
Yeah, that is a challenge. So see, Mangalore, what happens is the localites, these 8,000, 5,000, these people are localites.
They all stay in their family homes,
Only
yeah.
in 250 to 500 people from outside, and only few hotels are there.
Okay.
So that is the key challenge.
You've traveled to Mangalore, right?
So
Yeah.
we've done a couple of weddings in Taj Bekal. So our production, of course, the flight has to be, we have to Mangalore. So we reach Mangalore, and all the local production, everything happens from Mangalore itself.
Yeah, but Taj Bekal is in Kerala.
Kerala, I know. But Mangalore, like you rightly said, that there are not enough rooms for us to kind of construct, like hold a wedding. That's the only
See,
drawback
also it
that we go
happens
through.
is that if people are coming from all over, they want what is called that branded hotel. Or they are looking at heritage hotels, or once it becomes a destination wedding hotspot, then it doesn't matter. It's the place and not the hotels. Because either they are people from there, they know about it.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly complex thing, and tourism marketing is about 4 things: the tourism board, the hotel, the general manager, and then it's the ecosystem. So for someone like her, because she's done a wedding at Taj Bekal, she will not be apprehensive to take on even a 10,000 pax wedding in Mangalore because she's worked with the vendors there. They will give her the confidence.
Yeah.
So it's also about that each of them will market a destination or take on the project only if they know that they have reliable, because Damini Damini cannot take a 400 crew right from Pune to a Mangalore. So these are all certain factors which have to be kept in mind, and hopefully as more and more companies like Taj, Leela set up operations in more locations in the south, we will see destination weddings happening there. And finally, of course, a destination wedding, it becomes, from a wedding hotspot, it becomes a destination wedding hotspot only when people from outstation come in, when they have no connection in the city. That is when it becomes a destination wedding hotspot.
One example for the south that I have is Bangalore JW Marriott Golf Shire.
What a success.
We never used to go to Bangalore. Like, I think it would have been the same thing when people said, you don't come to Bangalore. But as soon as there was a Golf Shire, It's out of the city. There is no travel. You're not
And
stuck
the
in
locations
traffic.
around Golfshire are doing so well.
Absolutely. Amita Rasa is something that's minting money because of Golfshire. So I think, and that's become a destination wedding for so many people. I had my clients travel from Orissa to Golfshire. Like he rightly said, it's actually about the venue and the number of rooms. We would travel to any part of the country as long as the property is insanely beautiful and the number of rooms are kind of sufficient.
Thank you.
That would be a good example for the South.
Thank you. We may not even be able to wait for our panelists, but request all of you to kindly come forward for a photo op. Is Mr. Agarwal in the room? We'd like him also to join in. Mr. Sanjeev Agarwal, is he here? He's not here. Okay. Yeah, we'll take a photo and then we'll